Hello, and welcome to, I think it's part 11. I think it's video 11, and today, this evening, we will be having a look at adding Markdown as input and also rendering that as well. So, let me just find the browser that I'm looking for. There we go. And just from earlier on, what we did earlier on is we created the category pages for the forum. So when you click on one of these categories, it goes to the URL with the category ID, and then it displays everything. Now, when I deployed this, I noticed one thing that maybe needs improved, or something we didn't do, but we discussed briefly, and I decided not to do it, and that was to revalidate the content. So if I refresh here, you'll see there's a brief flash of the content that we had previously, and that is the statically built page. And then what's updating now, that's SWR kind of making that fresh request, and then kind of updating the contents. Obviously, that's not great. So what we need to do is inside of the category ID page, I think it was this page, yes. Down here, we need to do that revalidate, and we'll just say 1. Now, I didn't expect us to need to do that before because I was thinking this was going to be category pages showing category data that's fairly stale. I totally forgot that we are rendering threads as well, and those threads will change. So that'll help in this case. So whenever there's a new thread posted or someone visited, that cache kind of lives for that second. So that should fix that issue we've got. I'm just double checking that's the right place actually. So revalidate 1. So that's kind of bug fix 1 done. I'm going to create a new branch now, and I'm going to we're going to say this is Markdown. And let's just go ahead and we'll add this fix revalidate category pages. And there's a couple of plugins that I want to use today. The plugin that we'll use today will be React Mde. Now, this may look familiar if you're used to GitHub. This here allows us to type in stuff and preview it, and we can also select this, use keyboard commands, insert links, and do whatever, and we get this. Now, this is ideal for us. I'm not too worried about the style and the layout just yet, but the fact that we can do all of this and it kind of gives you all this stuff out of the box, hey, this is all we really need for kind of the stage we are at, which is getting content in. So yeah, let's install React Mde, and also we're going to need a renderer. This, I believe, uses Showdown, and I think Showdown, if I'm correct, it's quite an old dependency that hasn't really been updated as of late. There could be something else going on that I'm just not aware of, but I want to use React Markdown because it seems to have quite a lot more kind of pull requests and issues and bugs being fixed than I've seen with Showdown. But maybe I'm missing something there. But I'm going to opt for using React Markdown. And then there's another one called Markdown It as well, which is quite popular. And you could use Next MDX Remote as well. We're not going to be using MDX on the forum. At least I don't think we are. So I don't want to kind of stretch to configure an MDX when really we don't need to. I'm trying to keep the dependencies low. However, I do know with React Markdown, it does come with a couple of downsides on performance, and we're just going to have to kind of test that out and experiment and see what the hits are, and then maybe so we can make some improvements, because I don't think any of this stuff is obviously server rendered. It's all just going to be kind of computed in the browser, and if we've got a page of a dozen posts, this may not be the best solution. And that's when we may look to refactor and optimize it. But maybe it does now. But I remember a while ago that wasn't the case. So yeah, let's install React Mde. And we'll also go ahead and install React Markdown. React Mde is obviously the Markdown editor, and then we need a renderer, which is going to be React Markdown. And Markdown allows us to pass in, React Markdown allows us to pass through various different kind of plugins and extensions to kind of enhance the way our Markdown works. So in the possibility we do kind of want to implement MDX, React Markdown does actually allow us to kind of render custom components based on the kind of the input that we provide, the data that we've submitted. So we might be okay for what we are using it for. So first of all, why don't we open up ask.js, and this is our ask page. This is where we ask a new question. So I'm just going to have a look at the example here. We don't need this converter, but we do need React Mde. So we'll go ahead and import this here. Now, we're going to be using this in a few places, so it's probably wise at some point to refactor this into another component that handles all of the logic with rendering that Markdown editor and also the preview. But I'm not going to, because it means we need to refactor some of our forms to use React Hook Forms context provider. And for anyone following along, I just don't want to kind of bounce around the place too much. So we'll kind of go through this flow of where we're at now. When we get to the kind of the design phase and implementing some kind of design, I think after then we'll go back and we'll kind of refactor, and we'll probably find we need to refactor at the design stage as well. So let's have a look and see what we need to do. Const selected tab we'll probably need. We're not using Typescript at the moment, so we can just kind of omit that. But we'll also import React Markdown as well. So we will import React Markdown from React Markdown. So import Markdown from React Markdown. Cool. And then what we're going to do is instead of showing just a text area here, we want to transform this to be a React Markdown editor. So we need to do React Mde. What did it look like? So provide all this stuff here. Let's have a look. React Mde takes a value. The value is going to come from the context of the form. So let's just get rid of that for now, I think. On change, we'll just get rid of that because we need to hook that up. Selected tab. What is this? That is, it keeps state of which button is clicked. Again, this is when I say we can refactor. This is probably the time. This is probably the thing we will refactor first when the time comes, because adding this is just a bit silly when we instantiate in the same component twice. So let's go ahead and import useState from React. Now we've imported useState, we can keep track of what tab is active, and the React Mde component will take care of that automatically. And then generating a Markdown preview. Well, we're not using converter, are we? We're going to use Markdown children, because that's the React Markdown component takes. Where is it? Did we see it? Source or children? I mean, I don't know which is preferred. Maybe source is preferred since it's mentioned first. Kind of just want to kind of keep within convention. So we'll just say Markdown source is equal to Markdown. And if I save this and go to localhost, and we go to create a question, I'm hoping we get the input. So React Mde is not defined. That is because it's a capital M. We'll probably get an error now. Write preview. So there's nothing going on just yet. Install these styles. Now we will customize the appearance of this, but we'll not do it just yet. Like I say, we'll come on to the design phase later. Now instead of just doing this here, what's preferred with Next is that you import it here. So I'm just going to place that here, and that's going to import the styles from the module itself, the MDE module. And then if we go back to localhost, we've got this preview going on. Now if I type in here, we're going to get an error that onChange it's not defined because it's not. But this is kind of a control component. So let's have a look at React Hook Form. Let's have a look at the API, and I'll just try and remind myself how this worked. Controller. Unique name of your input. Control is from invoke and use form, optional when using form context. And then a render prop. So control equals control. So control comes from use form. So where are we with that? I'm going to guess this is there. Let's just copy that. Surely there's as. Yes, there is. Controller will inject onChange on blur and value props into the component. Well, if we have a look at the component value, yes, tick, and onChange, those are both added. They're kind of spread in here automatically for us. So don't need to do any of that weird render prop. We can literally just say this, render this controlled component as whatever. And then we'll need to import controller, I'm guessing, from use form. And then down here, we're going to have to type, let's just add this in, but we'll not do this. We'll say as. We'll get rid of that. We'll put this in. This might not work. So name is message. And then we will add a default value of null. We might not need that. Then do we need anything else in here? Controller. Default value the same. No, you will need to either set default value at the field level or use form with default values. Right, okay, so we do need that. We'll just say that's empty. Rules. Okay, so we can take the same validation rules as we had before and place those inside of here. And let's grab this required rule and add that there. We don't need anything else from there, so let's just get rid of that old input. And we're just dealing with React Mde. We don't need onFocus, name, values handled for us, right? Value, I'm guessing value is just handled for us automatically. So let's save that, head back to localhost, and now let's try hello world. And we'll write something here. Hello there. We'll click preview. Hey, and the content's persisted. So we should be able to make this text bold. Preview. And there we go. Awesome. So we are rendering Markdown. How cool is that? That was a lot easier than I imagined. So we've replaced the text area with this Markdown component, and we can insert images by just clicking these links here. We can insert code blocks as well. So we could say const j equals the string b, and preview that. And there we go. It doesn't have a theme, syntax theme, but maybe we can style that later on as well, when we come to style the form, the whole thing. So we'll get back to writing, and we will say hello again. So we've got a question here. Thanks very much for joining. There's a question here for, do you think the same thing would be possibly done with Gatsby? Yes and no. This whole thing could be built with Gatsby. Yes, not a problem. When we are dealing with the whole static generation side, that's when we're going to run into issues. So with Gatsby, there's no way to just rebuild that individual page on the CDN when it's been ran, without kind of triggering a build with Gatsby again to rebuild the whole thing. Now, if you did that for every single post or comment or whatever, that is just not ideal. What you'd probably have to default to is loading the content completely client side, which is what we are doing here, but we're providing a fallback first. So we're saying, here's some static data, and then in the background, make a request to the database again. And if that content's changed, update the page immediately. And we've got some fancy things in there for polling and refetching when the focus comes back to the window, and that'll bring fresh content in. You could do all of that with Gatsby, not a problem, but you wouldn't be able to get those static pages. It would always depend on a connection to the database, and that's the kind of thing I'm trying to avoid. And thankfully with Next, that's kind of just built out of the box now. It makes it really nice. There could be APIs with Gatsby. That's probably going to enable that in the future. But right now, that's just not possible. So that's why I've opted to use Next. I just find the experience a whole lot better. It's a lot faster at dealing with page generation, and backed by Vercel, you can deploy this automatically, and it's just kind of taken care of for you at the edge. So hopefully, knowing that answers your question. It certainly can be built with Gatsby on a whole, but you're going to run into issues, I think, when you want to make it look smart and fast for anyone that's posting content. So I'm going to post this. Okay, cool. So we're storing the Markdown in the DB, which is cool. We've got this reply box. We'll need to apply to the reply box the same React component for writing Markdown. So we'll probably do that in a second. But first, let's render the Markdown. So inside of post, I'm going to import Markdown from React Markdown. And this is where I think we're going to run into performance issues if we are rendering this thing every single time. What we may do is abstract this and pass it down, so this thing is kind of only booted up once. And inside of here, we'll say a Markdown source is equal to message, and then we'll simply just render that. Pass no arguments in, because at the moment we don't need to do anything. Let's refresh this page. And awesome, there we go. We've got our Markdown rendering. Now it looks a bit squished because we haven't done any styling at all to this application. And we can see here, instead of the pre-tag, we've even got the language brought across, which is just great. We can roll with this for now. We can come to styling all of this at a later point. And we've got a question here. What are you planning to use for styling? We're going to be using Tailwind. So far, I've been using Tailwind to kind of, I know this looks beautiful already and we could just leave it like this, but we might just want to tweak it a little bit and make it look nicer. Maybe it's not even go for this stacked approach of links. We may kind of go wild and add some kind of flex box to align these left and right. So yeah, when we get to styling, we'll be using Tailwind and we'll make the whole thing look pretty. And I have no idea what this is going to look like in the end, by the way. This is just, we're just going with the flow on this stream. But we'll style this up. Tailwind even has a plugin for typography. So we could even just say this, and you add a class called Prose, and this, that would get us out of the park straight away. That would maybe save our ass a little bit, and we don't have to style everything here. But we'll come across it. We'll discover that when it gets to that stage. But the kind of, for the moment, we're just going to focus on, getting functionality down and working. So now we're displaying that. Let's go about updating this post box to be, this reply box to also accept Markdown and allow us to preview it. Is it post box? What did we call it? Post form. Now, one thing I do want to steal, just to kind of help us distinguish different fields, is add a class to the post button there. So when we go to ask a question, we get that here. And it's just a little nicer. We could probably do the same for title. What's your thoughts on TypeScript? I'm using TypeScript in a few projects, but I'm not all in yet. I haven't got over the initial hump. Initial hump being, it's going to get worse before it gets better, but it will get better. I'm just not at that stage yet. I'm not using it full time. I've just kind of been dipping my toes in here and there. And when I've come across a problem, like when I'm kind of going up that hump, I'm struggling to keep going up it because productivity just kind of takes a dive, and I don't have the luxury at the moment to just spend a little bit extra. So I've kind of defaulted back to JavaScript. A shame Flow didn't stick around because I really liked Flow. But hey ho. Right, so let's have a look at the post form. And we'll add that same thing in here. Now we're going to duplicate a lot of this. Like I've said, we will refactor this later. So we're not having to import this same stuff again and set up use state again. Like that's just annoying. And it's, it's going to lead to bugs down the road. But for where we are at in this project, I'm not going down that path of refactoring just yet until we get to the point of design, because I just know for a fact we'll refactor some stuff now, and then we'll go, oh, we've missed a prop, or we could use that dynamic prop to style something different in the editor. I would say this post form could be used on the ask page, and we just pass in a prop here that says is reply true. And that will kind of just show the category field, and it will show the title field. If it's false, and if it's true, then it'll hide them. We could just reuse this component for that. On this page, there's nothing stopping us from doing that. So maybe we'll explore that as well. Next, we will just copy all of this. Like I say, I hate doing this, but I think for us it's fine, the stage we're at. I'm just going to copy this message though and place this up here. Have I got this wrong? Wrong way around. Yes, copy that there, paste that here. And it's message. We'll then import controller. Register is no longer required. And we'll import controller. And we look to be good, I think. Message, default value, markdown. Sweet. Sweet. What are the best resources for learning TypeScript? We can preview that and reply. Hey, and there we go. Now this doesn't reset. Doesn't reset thread ID. Where are we handling that? This here. So let's just console log this and see if it does get a second prop. I'm just going to comment that out for now, and we'll comment that out, and I will just do press reply. So we're getting the event. So maybe it's yeah, we're getting the form. Don't know why we can't. I don't know why we can't do target.reset. The mic I'm using is the Shure SM7B. It's hooked up to a USB interface and also a cloud lifter to boost it. I don't know too much about it. I was recommended the microphone by one of the dev advocates of Stripe, Chris Tragg, and he recommended the whole setup. And when I got it, I was impressed by the quality as well. So I'll leave a link in the description on YouTube or something after I post the video. But you could just Google Shure SM7B. SM7B. This is the mic. This is it here. It's pretty cool. It's got a little boom arm. It's pretty nice. Back to this though, I don't know exactly what's going on. And yeah, Tailwind's pretty nice. It's pretty sweet just for building stuff fast. I'm gonna worry about creating components and styling those and whatever. I can just use class names, and I write, fewer lines of code, I think, and it's a lot easier to maintain, in my opinion anyway. I think that's why there's big hype about it at the moment. It seems to be winning some hearts. You're welcome. Yeah, so I think we've done quite a bit in this video. I'm going to come back to this, why this form isn't resetting, in a bit. We'll remove this console log. Console log driven development. It's the best. Yeah, so I think we're good. Yeah. I don't know what else we can do on this specific thing. So we've got testing a lock thread. Go in here. The box doesn't show at all. We've got a pin thread. Now this doesn't have the little icon because we're not querying for that data here. I just don't know if it makes sense in this index overview view to show pin threads at the top. To me, those belong inside of the category. So I click on the category, or in the general category, and it shows it pinned there. I just think if something's pinned and you're on the index page, it's forever going to be there. I want the index page to be fresh content with new activity. So yeah, I probably will wrap up today on this. It's 7:30 in the evening. We've done a stream at lunchtime already today, which was covering the category page, so we can go into JavaScript here, and it shows all the threads here. We've got the ask a question page, so we could do Jamstack. Like, what's Jamstack? It's all about TypeScript, APIs, and markup now. We can We could even just go like bold, bold A, bold M, and does TypeScript have a website? TypeScript lang. We could just steal this. And we could even go add a link around here and preview that. And there we go. What's Jamstack? It's all about TypeScript, APIs, and markup. And then let's post that in JavaScript. And we go to post. Now the other thing we'll probably do in there is add a checkbox to pin the thread if you are a moderator or an admin. And then if you are the thread owner or a moderator or admin, we'll also add buttons to lock threads, pin threads, unpin threads, unpin threads, and we'll also add a like and unlike button or something. Maybe it's not unlike, but just you can like it and then you can remove that like, not like unlike, like downvote. We'll add that in at some point as well. But yeah, all of this has been sent to Hasura. This has all been done in the background. So if we find that post that we've just created, there. So what's Jamstack? It's all about TypeScript. You can see the message in there now, and that's in the DB, which is cool. And if we went to users here, and which one is me? I've got 2 accounts now. I think it's the first one that I'm logged in with. If we went here and just updated my name to be Jamie, but with the capital J-A-M, and save, when I focus back on this page, as soon as I click the window, this should make a fetch request to the database and get my name and update it, which it hasn't. Maybe we're not. Why would that be? Maybe it's the wrong user. Edit. Nope, that's Sophie. Edit again. Did I edit the wrong one? Jamie, save. There we go. So I was editing the wrong record. But as I focus back on the window, I didn't press refresh or anything at all. It's just kind of gone and fetched the data and then kind of revalidated the page and updated the cache, which is cool. So yeah, let's get this pushed and get this on jamstackforum.com, where you can sign up and you can tell me what your thoughts on TypeScript are. And I'll add more features. Probably add some profanity filter as well, so when you do make a post, we'll kind of just pull out any profanity and stuff. So it's looking good. Right then, let's get this on GitHub. Right, Markdown, editor, preview. I'm just adding everything at once because we're live streaming. We're not following the official rules. My friend and colleague Jonathan would be upset that I'm not following the rules and following the Git stuff. But yeah, feed will be Markdown, editor, and preview. Thank you very much for the comments. That really does mean a lot. I'm kind of just doing this, one, for my own entertainment and learning, but also if anybody else is curious about this kind of stuff, hopefully we'll learn a thing or two, and the more people that ask questions, I think the better we all get out of it. And as I explained in the very early videos of why I'm doing this, I used to kind of, when I first got into programming, create form scripts and hack on form scripts and themes and plugins and whatever else for some very old stuff, and even some today that's still even going. It's kind of where I got my start in programming, learning the PHP and things, so it's kind of just a bit nostalgic to me, and kind of, it means something. So we're just building a form and using some of the modern tools and having fun in the process. So we've got that there. Let's just go ahead and click that. Let's just check the file's changed first. So we've added 2 new dependencies. We've invoked the Markdown component instead of just render a message. We've got a little bit of bloat, a little bit of debt there, but we can clean that up in a refactor later with when we come to design this thing. Name ID has gone. That's fine. This is fine. That is fine. Yeah, it looks okay. And we've added the bug fix from earlier on, which was to regenerate the static pages for categories. Squash and merge, squash and merge. And there we go. We didn't close an issue because I didn't have an issue for that. It was just something I kind of thought. I did plan to come on and do create today's post page, but I thought I would just cover the Markdown stuff, and then we can, you know, it looked like something interesting and a good bit of fun to do. So we'll move on to creating the page to show all threads and posts tomorrow. My birthday tomorrow, and we'll have fun coding. So I'll be on the stream tomorrow, and we'll do a page to get today's posts, and maybe even do this. Create posts, create the answered post page, and then create the unanswered post page as well. Be pretty cool if we can get these done, and maybe even make a start or have a look at the like unlike buttons, and then I can add some additional issues for us to tackle. But yeah, if we go to jamstackforum.com, we click on here, we'll see it's rendered, and because I'm logged in, I can see this box. And if I refresh, you can kind of see everything here. So yeah, it's looking good. Sign up, write a reply, and we'll be able to kind of see that in the next stream. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back online tomorrow streaming. I now have to go to a GraphQL meetup where I'm giving a talk. And my link is on Twitter if you want to see that. But yeah, thanks very much. Happy coding. Have a great one.